Hey everyone, it's Karnak with Star Wars Armada Explained. Thanks for joining me. We're going to be looking at the objective Fleet and Bean. I've got it all blown up nice and big right now so you can read the text. At some point I will make it smaller so I can go in Vassal and show you how the objective is played. If you'd like to follow along, go to the Star Wars Armada wiki, go to the Rebellion in the Rim expansion page and pull up the objective there. Great, let's dive right in. This, out of many of the objectives in Rebellion in the Rim, is actually a very straightforward objective card. So Fleet and Bean. Setup. After deploying fleets, the first player assigns each of their ships one objective token. Then the second player assigns each of their ships a number of objective tokens equal to that ship's command value. Special rule. When a ship with an objective token is declared as the target of an attack, it may discard one objective token to ready one of its exhausted defense tokens. End of round, if that ship is at distance 1 to 5 of one of the 3-foot edges, or at distance 1 to 3 of a player edge, remove one objective token from that ship. End of game, each player gains one victory token for each enemy ship in the play area that does not have an objective token. So I'm going to go ahead and make this smaller so it's right there in the corner. Make some of the text still a little bit hard to read, but a little clear. Let's bring up the Vassal page and make sure this is, it seems like, there we go, perfect. So how does this objective work? Well, in terms of setup and playing, it's really straightforward once we break it down. So let's do that. So the objective technically doesn't even start doing anything until after deploying fleet. So the first thing you do is you would place obstacles as normal, would just throw all the obstacles down out there, you know, not worrying about chiming your turn or anything like that. We're going to say the Imperial player is the second player, and the first player is the Rebel player. Alright, so then we deploy fleets, so the first player is like, you know what, I'm going to go here and here, and the second player is going to go there and there. Perfect. So now this is after deploying fleets, is the trigger timing of this objective, meaning that something like this wouldn't affect any ships that would be in hyperspace, like Radis, or if there's any other abilities coming out in terms of that could put ships or anything in hyperspace in the future. Pretty much, if the ship is not on the table, whether through Radis or Profundity, that ship would not then be assigned the objective tokens that we're going to read in the following. So after deploying fleets, the first player assigns each of their ships one objective token. So I've got one objective token here, so you would throw that on each one of the ships, like on their ship card is where you'd put that. Then the second player assigns each of their ships a number of objective tokens equal to that ship's command value, which Star Destroyers have 3 command value, so you'd put 3 and 3 on each ship. And again, you wouldn't need to try to like stack them like on the physical, like your ship. You can put them on your ship card. That's where you're technically supposed to put objective tokens, and that's totally okay. So now that we've assigned, the first player only gets 1 on his ships, period, and then the second player gets a number of tokens according to whatever the command value of his ships are. So that is something to note. So something like a Super Star Destroyer would get like 4 of these objective tokens. Well, what are the purpose of these tokens? What do they do? Let's find out. Special rule. When a ship with an objective token is declared as the target of an attack, it may discard one objective token to ready one of its exhausted defense tokens. So where is this good at? Well, you know your ship has already, for example, we'll say that they've moved and they're fighting and they're shooting, and this Star Destroyer has already exhausted a brace token and a redirect token. So we'll say that this Mon Calamari MC-80 is shooting at the Star Destroyer that's already exhausted some defensive tokens. Well, the special rule, where if you have an objective token and you are being declared the target of attack, and he's saying, I am going to attack you, I'm getting ready to throw my attack die, it may discard one objective token to ready one of its defensive tokens. So you can be like, you know what? I don't want to burn my brace if this attack turns out to be some big attack. So I'm going to discard that token, and I'm going to ready my brace. And you can only discard one objective token at a time, because it doesn't specify 1 or more, it just says one. I mean, you can only get rid of one to ready an exhausted defense token. So that is what, for in terms of that, you can't throw them all off and then unexhaust all your defensive tokens. It's only one per attack. Cool. So you've been declared. So again, in terms of timing, you would need to declare the timing of this before the initial attack pool is rolled. So as soon as he's picking up his dice to throw an attack at you, you need to say, whoa, I'm going to do this objective. I'm getting rid of this token to refresh, and now you can throw your attack pool. So as the attacker, don't rush through the process. You don't have to remind your opponent about the timing, but don't just be like, I'm attacking and boom, just throw your dice out there. Give your opponent a chance to at least potentially remember that this objective is being played. Play casual. End of round. If a ship is at distance 1 to 5 of one of the 3-foot edges, which these are the 3-foot edges here on the left and right. So distance 1 to 5, well, when you're putting up your deployment markers, these vertical lines are the distance 5 for when you're defining the setup area. So pretty much if your ship is at any point at, meaning just barely touching, is at distance 1 to 5 here, or as it says here, or at distance 1 to 3 of a player edge, which is the first horizontal line here, if you're at that distance, meaning, when you measure range, if it's touching to the plastic ship portion of your ship, you remove one objective token from that ship. So the end of round is for every round, if you're within, this box area here, or one of these box areas on the side here for the players, you automatically lose a objective token. So what does this ultimately contribute to? At the end of the game, each player gains one victory token for each enemy ship in the play area that does not have an objective token. Meaning that as soon as you lose your objective tokens, you're automatically scoring 15 points per ship that is left alive at the end of the game. So that is Fleet and Bean. Like, there's no other crazy interactions. There's no crazy things going on here, other than I do want to point out that someone like Jen Urso does affect this objective, because all she requires is, do you have an objective token on your ship? Yes, I can fly up. If you can use her on the enemy ship, you claim a victory token from that ship's objective token. Just want to make sure I'm pointing that out with her. So what is this great at? Well, maybe you just barely missed killing a ship and it's flying away on 1 health. But it doesn't have any of these objective tokens on it, so you still get 15 points for it. Maybe it's somebody who's wanting to try to do a fortress list where he's sitting in the corner and he's wanting you, a second player, to come to the first player, or maybe the first player is trying to backline deploy and go super slow, and he's going slow out of the zone. And so then he would lose again. He loses those objective tokens. He doesn't get any benefit if he's turtling in his home area, or if he's flying off around into the sides after the game has started. So they would lose objective tokens, meaning that they don't get the benefit of the special rule where they can refresh exhausted defense tokens. And then for the second player, obviously he gets the most benefit from having larger command value ships. You want to at least have command value 2 ships, 3 ships, potentially Super Star Destroyer 4, so that way you're getting the additional tokens. The Fleet and Bean, though, ultimately you're not really going to see it in any competitive sort of play, because in order to get points, you have to keep ships alive. So if you keep a ship alive, it means you didn't kill it, which means you're not getting a whole lot of MOV. It pretty much, there's just, your goal in this game is to destroy ships, and this is just like some little tiny bonus. Oh, it's like, oh, you didn't kill it. Well, here, have 15 points, which is not even worth a flotilla. Rebel flotillas are 18 points, so like you're not even getting a flotilla's worth of points from this thing. Again, if somebody only brings 3 ships or 4 ships, you're going to be killing, hopefully you're killing some of them. And then for you, it's like, I just don't see this objective being replacing other objectives where you can vastly farm more points. Where I can see this being a deterrent too is, I guess, people who fly, lifeboat, small ships off in the corner somewhere, but that still can be circumvented. All you got to do is just move it past that distance 3 and distance 5 portion. Um, yeah, I just don't really see what they were going with this objective. I'm going off a little bit of a tangent here, just also trying to explain like where this could have some uses and benefits. I guess as the SSD, you could say that there's other yellows that maybe aren't as helpful. But is this better than contested outpost where you can farm 100 points but you lose the benefit of the station? So I guess this is like a very neutral yellow objective. There's no crazy things going on. It's also not hindering your ability, to have the station out there where maybe you could use your ships to try to utilize it. It's a very like standard objective, similar to other objectives from the original game and from Corellian Conflict. But I just don't ever see this getting play because win big or go home. And this doesn't really contribute to that mindset. Not to say that people can't take this and get use and benefit out of it. Every person is different. Every meta is different. From a meta standpoint, I just don't see this objective being played a lot. Just like, targeting beacons or station assault, like from Reds or other objectives that are out there. But that's Fleet and Bean. I could go on all day about it. But if you feel like I missed anything or if I got anything wrong, please be sure to point it out. Let me know. I do appreciate comments and feedbacks. I appreciate you guys watching. Hey, I'll catch you all next time.